Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We have some exciting news coming out of Oklahoma today as Spencer Brown has officially committed to the Oklahoma Sooners from Michigan State. And we talked about this earlier in a couple other episodes of kind of what Oklahoma is looking for in the transfer portal, and this was a big piece of it. You look at this team; they're going to lose some tackles. I think Guyton's probably going to go to the draft. Obviously, Rouse is going to go too. So you are going to have to replace some older veteran players at that offensive tackle spot, it seems like. And you do have some good young players coming up, but it's certainly good to add a little bit of depth, especially given the fact that everybody's pretty much looking to add these type of starting offensive tackles because it is frankly hard to find. And if you don't find it, it's really hard to be competitive. So Oklahoma landing one of those players and what's, again, a good hit out of the portal for Oklahoma. Before we get too deep into the player, just wanted to thank everyone, especially the Oklahoma Sooners fans. The amount of support you guys have given truly does mean the world. So if you like the content, please consider sharing. Please consider subscribing, liking. All of that really does help us out in a big, big way, and it really is appreciated. So just getting into a little bit about the player, I think what stands out is athleticism. I mean, a guy who's now been in college for 5 years, taking his 6th year at Oklahoma, but a very, very good athlete. He's played kind of off and on at Michigan State. You got to see him a fair amount last year, and that athleticism really did stand out. I think most notably, you see in the run game, very, very good in space. That's what kind of jumps out is he gets up and works up to linebackers in more of that spread offense scheme that Michigan State was running for a good chunk of last year. And obviously a big part of what Oklahoma wants to do, given that they hired from within to replace Jeff Lebby. Oklahoma does like to play a little bit more spread, a little bit more loose, but also does want the ability to run the ball and slam it up inside at times too. And big, strong athlete, I think, should very much fit well with this scheme. When you look at the pass pro, I mean, an effective pass protector for sure. Like, didn't give up a ton of pressures from what I noticed. Maybe can take a few penalties, which obviously need to be cleaned up. But a guy who's got the athleticism and the strength and the power to be really, really good, even with maybe some technique that probably needs to be refined. And frankly, that's probably why he's coming back to school and moving on to Oklahoma, where they've proven to develop tackles pretty well. You saw Guyton get really, really good under them. I think Jacob Sexton looks like he's very much on his way to being a very, very good offensive tackle. So I think he's looking out and thinking this Oklahoma team is a school that I can come into, get really high quality development, and hopefully get my shot in the NFL draft following his 6 year of college football. But again, what it's doing for this Oklahoma team at the end of the day is it's adding some depth, and they really did need that given what they're probably going to end up losing this year. And honestly, I don't think it's cakewalk for Spencer Brown to start on this Oklahoma team, which might be even more of a testament to what they were able to do in terms of recruiting him and bringing him in. Because you look, they have Jacob Sexton. I think he's a lock to start. I thought he came in and played awesome when he needed to due to some injuries last year. And then you got Jake Taylor, who's really, really talented. We haven't seen as much of him yet, but a guy coming out of Bishop Gorman as a high four-star kid, it feels like he's going to be very much in the mix for competing for this offensive tackle spot. So you do have a couple of hard battles to win if you're Spencer Brown, but that competition can only serve to make Oklahoma better, make Spencer Brown better. And at the end of the day, you want probably 3 to 4 tackles, because if you get injured at that offensive tackle spot, which again, you just offensive lineman, it's a brutal position. It's hard, and you miss a couple of games. If you have a nothing behind those starters at offensive tackle, you try to go kind of gut those games out late in the season. It's really, really hard to be competitive when you don't have one. So I think for me, at the very worst, you're getting a really good depth piece for Oklahoma, a guy who, if Jake Taylor and Sexton happen to be the two guys starting, if either of them go down for a game or two, you can very much rely on Spencer Brown coming in and giving you really, really productive snaps in a position that obviously you need to be really able to produce. So that's what I think is the most exciting part for Oklahoma. It's just reloading the tool chest. Obviously, they went in, did it last year. It really worked out. I thought Walter Rouse played good football for them, and they're just dipping back into the portal, making it happen. And again, trying to continue to build, recruiting at a really, really high level, adding a couple of transfers where they need to, and I'm sure they're not done yet. So again, stick with us. I know we'll be talking a ton of Oklahoma, especially as they start to land more commits and even as it gets towards National Signing Day. So again, if you do enjoy the content, please please are subscribing, liking, commenting, all of that. It really does help out a lot. And we'll talk to you guys later.